Welcome to the Orange and the Brit. I am Kai Taylor. I am the Brit, and joining me every week is my co-host John Kachikian. He is the Orange. We are bringing updates to you every week or so on your favorite Motor City sports. We got Wings, Pistons, Lions, and Tigers, as well as any breaking news in sports. Today we got some insight on the Motor City Kitties, the Tigers, our Week 2 reactions, and looking at the best prospects for the Red Wings. So don't touch that dial. You got a great show. I don't know if people say that anymore, but yeah, okay, we can start with the Tigers. I was talking with some people today, and they were like concerned about us making the playoffs, and I'm not there yet. We haven't been great. We haven't been that bad though, I think we'll make the playoffs. Now I'm really concerned we're gonna choke the division.
I mean, we're making the playoffs. I don't see us not
Yeah.
making the playoffs. Like that's like we still have a 4.5 game lead with like 9 games left. So it's not like absolute panic. It's once we get to like 2.5 games that like then I get freaked out. But as of now, we did just get swept. But we do play them again after the I think the Angels we play Braves. No,
Braves, yeah.
Braves. Yeah. So after the Braves, then we play them again. I think we'll probably squeak out 2 wins against the Braves. So I don't think alarm bells are like, oh my god, we're missing the playoffs or we're losing the division. Still have like 9 games left to play. It's not. We still have 4.5 games. I think it's bad. It's kind of like
It's
something's
not
going
good.
on. Like you're kind of hearing the voices like, hey, something's kind of happening. Which yeah, that's fair, especially when like Flaherty actually pitched pretty well. We tied up the game, I think, yesterday, and then Will Vest just blew it in the ninth and then couldn't get back to it. So, like, stuff like that where it's like, you know, it's concerning, but I don't think it's, pull the fire alarm, get out of the building type deal.
Yeah, that Vest really doesn't do that a lot. Blow games. He's usually like he's not like lights out, but he's usually him and Finnegan are usually pretty good. So that's not really a concern of mine. My big concern is kind of like will Mize and Flaherty be good in the playoffs because Flaherty's turned into one of the most bipolar pitchers I've ever seen, in not in Tigers, but just like in general. I mean, like he pitched like against teams above 500. He pitched like a 1 point something ERA, and then below 500, it's like 5 point something ERA.
And it bodes well for the playoffs, am
Yeah, I mean, because
I
playoffs are
right?
filled with good teams, and then the Guardians. So hopefully he turns it up in the playoffs. He was good last year with the Dodgers.
hmm
And that's my big concern. I mean, that's been the concern all year was rotation depth for us.
hmm
Obviously Reese Olson got hurt a few months ago. Not sure
Yeah, and
exactly
then
when.
Job obviously took his surgery, so that's you're down two starters. You're down two starters in what was earlier in the season one of the better rotations initially.
Hmm.
When you have to force trades for Paddock and all these other like starters or relievers, then you kind of have to like just patch holes wherever and try and figure out a solution to the bullpen. Because if we had a mid tier like 15 ranked bullpen, we'd be like unstoppable. It's just like the bullpen is like the main issue I see, and also the fact that the offense can go absolute ham. Like we went 11 to 1 runs twice back to back against the Yankees, and then put up duds for the next 4 games. So the
Yeah,
streaky offense is also a bit of a concern when they were doing pretty well before the All Star break, and then apparently after it just was streaky.
yeah,
You get
crash.
multi home run, multi like double digit games, and you get like 1-2 runs in like 5 games.
Yeah, I mean it against the Mets, the two we lost, they combined in those two games for 22 runs, which was not great, obviously. But the one thing I will say, the positive about today was Scuba only giving up 1 run, obviously. He had 9 strikeouts, which is amazing. Cy Young winner. This is the lineup I want to see in the playoffs. I think if this stays the same, Meadows leading off. Then we got Torres and Cart batting third. Then we got Green fourth, Torque five, Wenzel Perez six, Colt Keith seven, which I think he's better than seven. I think he doubled today. That gave us the first run, and then Dingler and
Mhm.
McKinstry. And I love that lineup. And we had Jahmai Jones pinch hitting, Trey Sweeney. I don't love him. Ibanez has been terrible against lefties, but I think that's our best hitting lineup. And we only got one run today, but I think we looked not great on offense in the series overall. I think we've looked decent. We beat them shutout yesterday, but I think we scored 5 runs in the other loss. But I like Hinch's lineup, and I think this might be the playoff lineup. The only thing I might switch is Colt Keith and Parker Meadows.
Yeah, and also then you have Baez, who actually has bounced back again, but obviously got hit in the face with his own ball. But you have some of these players like Jahmai Jones, Baez, even sometimes he's been a bit inconsistent, like Justin Henry Malloy. You have some of these guys where you can kind of bring up, and that I think it was Malloy or Ibanez that gave us a huge hit against the Astros. You have guys where in certain scenarios they can be good. Obviously, Ibanez has been not great against lefties, but I think when you have some depth where you can plug and play players, I think that's pretty good for a batting lineup and hitting lineup at that.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
As of recent, we're going into a series against the Braves, which we should win at least 2 out of the 3. Guardians are going up against the Twins, which makes me a little nervous. But I mean, if we can keep, I'd like to clean it a little up. If we can keep how many games are they back right now? It's 3.5. 3.5.
4.5. I'm pretty sure.
I think now it's 3.5. That was what Apple.
3.5. Okay.
Yeah. So if we can win at least 2 against the Braves, if they can win at minimum, obviously I want them to lose all, but I think they'll win 2, and then we can maybe get that lead a little bit longer in our series, because I think the division will be decided in the series against them. Whether they
especially
win or lose
when you get to the tiebreaker too.
Yeah, and
those division wins, especially against them, are going to be so important.
Yeah. And I'm not 100%. Oh, they've got the Rangers. And we end the series with the Red Sox. They end it with the Rangers. 2 pretty good teams. I think Red Sox are a little better, but I think they're going to struggle against the Rangers, especially that pitching. They got Rangers at the lowest ERA in baseball. Eovaldi doesn't want to give up a run for the life. Sorry. But, yeah, the division's going to be decided in that series against them. Hopefully we get Skubal for a game. Hopefully we get, our rotation settled in, our bullpen, figure out what's going on there. I think short term, call up Malloy, stop pinch hitting Ibanez, because it's just you can't. He's batting 150 against lefties in the past however many games. He hasn't been good. Stop pinching Ibanez. He's great in the clutch in the playoffs. He had a great hit against the Astros that helped us win the game. But just bring up. I think you should bring up Malloy. I think it's the best move right now.
Yeah. I think offensively Malloy is better. I think
defensively, I think Ibanez is better defensively. But I mean, right now, offensively, Malloy's got to be better because Ibanez can't get much worse. Trey Sweeney. I mean, at this point, you kind of need bodies to. I don't know when Baez is back, but we just need bodies. Just need hitters.
Yeah, and then catching versatility with Dingler and then Rogers. I think that's a good duo that you can lean on. It's not only one catcher, which catchers are still not a huge part. They're not overly the best players, but if you have a good catcher, which we have 2 good catchers, it makes it a lot simpler to build a lineup and also just the play in general.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of like what's going on with the Pistons. One of them, Dingler, is really good at hitting, and Jake Rogers is really good defensively. And Dingler's not that bad defensively. It's just that Rogers is better, and Rogers, I don't know what his batting average is, but it's not as good as Dingler's by a long shot. But if you're pinch hitting Andy Ibanez, who's batting 150 against lefties, you clearly got to change something up. We pinch hit Jake Rogers the other night, who's not that great offensively. If you're pinch hitting those 2, then something's a little off with the offense, I think.
Yeah.
So bring up Malloy, figure out the bullpen, and I mean, as far as the roster goes, I think we got a solid roster. I mean, that's the thing about the MLB playoffs that I kind of love, that anything can really happen, as you kind of saw last year. But as far as playoff matchups, are there any teams you don't want to see, just us playing in general?
I would say Toronto. I mean, they're going to get the 1 seed, but I think if we have to face them past the divisional, that's going to be a little bit of a problem because we saw in multiple series this year that we really struggled, especially a few weeks ago. I think we may have gotten one win against them, but they were big losses. And so I think Toronto is someone very scary, and I think will be the main contender. The Yankees are pretty scary, but we were able to kind of
Take care of him.
take care of them pretty like handedly,
Ellie.
recently at least. But I think Toronto is like the main threat we have to look at.
Yeah, I mean, I
Once we,
think. Yeah, no, sorry. Go ahead. Didn't mean to interrupt.
oh no, yeah, I was just saying if we have to face them eventually past the divisional, then that's just the main team that I'm kind of worried about.
Yeah, Bo Bichette leads the league in hits. They got solid pitching. They got Guerrero. They got all these weapons. I'm kind of thankful. Well, as of right now, I'm thankful that Kwan did not get traded to them because I can't stand Stephen Kwan, and I would probably hate him even more if he was on the Blue Jays. As far as the kind of division battle goes, in the AL West with Mariners and Astros, I would much rather play the Astros than the Mariners. It's not even close. We kind of like ran through them. Was it early August, somewhere around them? Mariners really scare me. Suarez, Cal Raleigh, of course. The pitching looks significantly better than it did earlier in the season. I don't want to play the Mariners. I'd want to play the Astros. Ideally, the Astros first round because I really think we can take care of them, or in the second round if we get the 2 seed. But yeah,
that would
Mariners I
definitely
don't
be
really want
the
to play.
best scenario.
Yeah, if we get the 2 seed because we can't catch Toronto at this point. I don't think. Well, we can, but I don't think we will.
So I think it's really just the bullpen. It's the relieving because Flaherty gave up 1 run, then the relievers gave up 2. So they're just giving up more, and then when the offense can't produce, more pressure on them, more pressure on not great relievers, just worsens the situation. Then you dig yourself into a deeper hole that a struggling offense might not be able to actually get you out of. So it's really the bullpen, and I think that's something that obviously the offseason is a bit ways away, but that's something that's going to need to be heavily addressed because, like last year, that's just going to kill the team, especially in the playoffs. So hopefully the bullpen can get a little bit better.
Yeah, as far as Scuba goes, I mean, I think he's pretty much gonna win the Cy Young. I think, but the runs that he does give up, I mean, that's part of kind of his play style. Like he's gonna throw a lot of strikes, and they're gonna swing at a lot of strikes. And you got players like Bo Bichette, like Cal Raleigh, that will just like demolish him sometimes. And the ERA might be great. I think does he lead the league in strikeouts? He might. He probably will at the end of the season. That'd be my guess. But I mean, that's part of the overall style that he pitches with. He's going to throw a lot of hittable balls, and a lot of them are going to be good. Some of them won't be, as is with any pitcher. But I feel like Skubal especially, he's just extremely aggressive at the mound. Mize has really cleaned it up in the past few weeks, but I want to go back to you see the off season's a few ways away, but the trade deadline. I have been on a roller coaster about my emotional status of our moves. We brought in Paddock, which at the time didn't like. We brought in Morton, at the time didn't like. I've never loved Paddock. I always thought he was probably the worst pitcher that we started. Thought Troy Melton was better, but Morton has considerably looked worse and worse, and he's I think 42 or 41. He had like the lowest ERA on the team at the start of when he got him. And now he looks like the Charlie Morton that pitched for the Baltimore Orioles and had an ERA above 5. And it kind of sucks that our two main... Well, we got Finnegan, who's been great, but our 2 other acquisitions at the deadline might not even make the playoff roster, and that's just AJ Hinch and the Tigers. Personnel obviously know more about baseball than I do, but it's just not great to see. And some questionable decision-making, sure. I mean, at least we got Finnegan. At least we got some good starts out of Morton. But yeah, overall the trade deadline might come back to bite us, especially if we, God forbid, choke the division due to pitching. Hopefully will not happen.
Yeah, and also within the trade deadline, like some of these moves they had to make because of injury with Olsen and then, Job having to be taken out. So I think when we look at that, like, they kind of had to make some moves, but obviously we're not going to give up any of their top prospects like McGonagall, like Max
No.
Clark. Like, they were never going to give up those MLB top 100 prospects, which we have like 4 or 5 of them.
Mm.
But they were never going to give up those high-end prospects for a pretty good player. So that was just never going to happen, and they had to kind of make do with what they were willing to send to teams without jeopardizing their future, their prospect pool, and also just these moves were, again, out of necessity. They kind of had to make some sort of move with the limited capital that they wanted to work with. Obviously, you kind of wish they worked with a little more, but you also have to look at the longevity of, them not making a crazy move.
No, I absolutely agree with you. I mean, as much as I wanted Eugenio Suarez and Naylor, it's not worth giving up Professor McGonagall or Max Clark. It's not worth giving up any of those. And I think that Suarez has been okay. He's been good for the Mariners, but I still would not want him on that team, on our team, if it meant we were giving up Clark or McGonagall, which is probably what the Diamondbacks would have wanted. But ironically, now they're in the playoff race. Yeah, I agree with what you're saying. I don't think it's worth giving up the prospects. I don't disagree with their moves in that sense. I'm glad we didn't give up anything major. Yeah, sorry, my voice is a little off. Obviously, I would have wanted more than Paddock and Morton, who are now on the fringe of not making our roster in the playoffs. But again, I'm happy that we still have a lot of those good prospects, which hopefully we can bring up next year at some point. Week 2, 52-21 against Ben Johnson, BJ, and the Bears. Euphoria. I think you best
What a bounce
described
back
the state I
win,
was
baby.
in.
I mean, oh my gosh.
I mean,
I walked into class, and a couple of my friends who are Bears fans, I'm like, they see me walk in, I'm about to sit down, they're like, I don't want to talk about it. I'm like, you sure you don't want to talk about it? I mean, really, you sure? Hey, you didn't see the stumble play after the no, I didn't see it. No, I didn't see it.
That made me smile. That celebration. But I saw the clip. I don't know if you've seen this. Of after the game, Ben Johnson shakes Dan Campbell's hand and then just books it. He doesn't want to talk to anyone. Goff had to chase him down.
Ignored him.
Yeah, I know.
Tried to get Frank Haley. Yeah,
wanted to get out of there as fast as possible. I think you love to see a loss in self-esteem from a former coach that thinks he's better. Yeah, I mean,
in the press conference, he's like, "Oh yeah, their quarterback was great. You know his name, bro. Just say it.
Yeah.
This isn't Ohio State, Michigan. Say the name of the quarterback. This is not rocket science."
Yeah.
Their coach. Yeah, the coach you coached under. Hello.
Yeah, that is actually interesting that you bring that up, because in the press conference he did refer to Dan Campbell a few times as him and not say his name. I don't know if that was subconscious or intentional, but I don't know. That's interesting that you bring that up though.
Yeah,
I didn't really notice that beforehand, but yeah, offense as far as I'm concerned,
finally got it together.
Yeah. O-line.
Isaac Tesla, oh my god, his second career catch, and it was that again, a one-hander.
Isaac Tesla might be prime OBJ, and we might not know it yet.
Vanillatron.
Yeah, coleslaw. Yeah, O-line looked. I mean, okay. Before I say this, Packers defense and the Bears defense are two extremely different things.
Yeah.
Bears defense is good. I don't think we really know if it's good or not yet. But last year it was okay. This year, I'm assuming it's about the same as last year, decent.
Yeah, maybe a little better.
Yeah, maybe. I mean that helps our case. It's a little better. Packers defense looks like it might be one of the best in the league, which is good for us. But also when I say we performed significantly better, that's okay. Is it because we went up against an easier defense? Yeah.
And also when we talked about last week, they clearly saw how they screwed up. Taylor Decker, I think in the locker room after week 1, he's we just didn't communicate well. It's not just them. It's everybody. We all have to be on the same page. Other people were doing this, doing that, all this other stuff. So they actually grew and got better. And I think you saw that with their play. Obviously, slightly less of a defense. Not saying the Bears are a horrible defense or anything, because they're not. But, they still look like a cohesive unit, actually. instead of last week where multiple blown assignments, players didn't know who to block. Like, it was just a catastrophe, and they actually looked like they pulled it together.
Yeah, I think I saw an upgrade from. Like the O line in general, like really spun it around. Penei Sewell, week one, was like one of the lowest rated PFF grade players. Like he gave up that sack
Yeah,
with
he did
Parsons.
not look good.
Didn't look great. And then fast forward, a week, and now he's one of the top rated players in the game. And I love to see that. The run game looked fixed. I mean, everything just looked. And I'm sure even the most casual of Lions fans can point this out. But everything just looked better. I'm just overall really impressed. The defense, obviously, there's some holes that need to be cleaned up.
Terry Arnold is one person we gotta look at because he is allowed the most yards, most passer rating against quarterbacks, and that's concerning when he was really hyped up coming out of training camp this year and looked pretty decent last year. But when he's just not making that jump and allowing all these yards, it doesn't look amazing. Obviously, he still has to get some time to use to, like, Darius Slay, when he was on the Lions, he did not look great initially, but then he worked himself into being a top corner. So I think it's something to keep an eye on, not something to criticize him too much right now. I think by his third year next year, I think by the end of his next year, then you take a hard look at him and start questioning him. But as of right now, I think it's something to keep an eye on, but not overly, get attached to.
I think it's too early, both in the season and his career, to make like a full-on assessment of his talent.
Yeah.
I mean, last year it was his rookie year. He was in Aaron Glenn's playbook, and like now he's in a completely different playbook, different environment. Not completely different environment as in different defensive coordinator, but for a guy with very little NFL experience, I know it can be difficult to like adjust, especially when you just spent all of last year learning one thing for the first time, and now you're doing it again with another. He had an almost interception. There was one there, and there'll be like flashes. There was one play he had against Golden. It was a run play, but like he was all over him. Like even if they were trying like a screen or something, they faked the screen. He was all over Golden, and there'll be flashes of him. And I think he will be a good cornerback. I just don't think it's gonna, show in the first 6 games of the season.
Yeah, defensive line also got better. Alquanquin Mohammed, bro.
Dude,
did you see him bulldoze the left tackle? Oh my gosh.
He like
that's
awesome.
when he also has the not highest, but he's in top 5 for pass rush win rate. He's at like 28%.
Really?
Which is like insane. Yeah, I think he's 5th on the list of that, which is crazy.
I mean, it's only 2 games.
Do I think he's going to keep it up the whole season? Maybe not, probably not. But I think when you look at him as a number 2 instead of Davenport, hopefully he can do something. He's not going to get like 8-9 sacks, but I think if he can get like 5 or 6 on this defensive front. Tyleik Williams also looked so much better. The rookie D tackle at Ohio State, he looked a lot better, even had a batted ball in place of Ali McNeil. Once Ali McNeil comes back, that's just going to have a huge boost. Just the defensive line in general. Hutch had his first sack of the season on his way to comeback player of the year. Apparently, I heard from multiple people that Ford Field absolutely lit up when that happened. So, once he gets back into it, this defensive front will really just blossom. But I think you still have to look at a true number 2 edge rusher, because Hutch isn't getting sacks and pressure like you did before, because he's getting double teamed every play. You saw the Adunze chip him. You had Colson Loveland try and block him. Hutch jumped over him. But, you have those game plans where offensive coordinators are like, okay, we have to plan against this one guy, and then that's it, basically. Obviously you have to worry about, other defenders, but when you only really have to truly worry about one player, you game plan against him, and it opens up kind of everything because you don't get enough pressure from your number 2. or really your interior that much.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at I had to bring him up with the Packers. Like, not only do you have to worry about Rashawn Gary now, but we're also going to bring in Micah Parsons, who might be like one of the greatest modern day edge rushers I've seen. And if worrying about one edge rusher versus like one edge rusher and also like a second option, it's night and day. Just in general, being worried about two is scarier than being worried about one. Davenport showed some good. I was kind of nervous. He went down twice, I think, in that game, which obviously you don't want to see, especially from him, especially from that D line.
And it was
Overall,
a play
though,
he got a sack on, I think, too.
was it? Oh yeah, yes, it was. Yeah, 'cause he stayed down after that. Yeah, overall, I am a little. I'm kind of like what Branch said. I don't know if you watched the after locker room speech, but they gave him the game ball, and he was like, "All right, we got Baltimore next week. We can't get too excited." Now I was
Yeah,
like in my
exactly.
head, I
Yeah,
was
yeah,
thinking
yeah.
like that. Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah. I think when obviously a lot of people think of the game 2 years ago when they hung 30. It was like 34-6, and Lamar kind of ran all over us. But if you look at the game 2 years ago, or no, not 2 years ago, way before that, when Tucker hit the game winner. And it was like the longest in NFL history. Like we held him, I think like 14 or something. Like we kind of put the clamps on him a little bit, and I think I have hope that we can like do that and then some on offense and like actually make it a tight game. It's gonna be like a dogfight, but it's gonna be a tight game. I think.
Yeah, and I think I literally just saw this tweet. I wish I had it pulled up, but all the moon stuff with the Lions.
Oh God.
They're like
Oh
they're
God.
apparently the Lions are 9-1 when the moon's in a waxing gibbous or something like that. Like, and they're playing the Ravens on that.
On a
So
waxing gibbous.
hey,
Oh boy.
hey, moneyline Lions, I guess. I don't know, but
We get the moon
I
on
just
our
saw that.
side.
I thought that was a really funny because all the moon stuff with Thanksgiving is just hilarious all the time. Um, but yeah, I just saw that. So I mean, hey,
The
maybe
moon's on our side.
we'll see the
Yeah.
10th. Maybe we'll see
Yeah.
the 10th, not the
You have
second.
you have Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. We have the moon.
Yeah,
So it's
which
gonna be a
better
tight
or
one.
for worse, it can do some things, I guess.
Bro.
I also saw a tweet with I can't remember who it was, but someone interviewed Ali McNeil, and he's getting close to coming back, and he just seems like he's just going to be a wrecking ball again once he gets back. It's going to take a sec for him to really get comfortable again, being back in the game. He hasn't played in so long. Um, and so I think once you see him come back, I think you see much better more sacks and more pressure because you actually have sacking defensive tackle like DJ Reader. He's our pocket pusher for run plays. Ali McNeil is the pocket pusher to sack the quarterback or disrupt the quarterback. So I think once you see him come back, it'll be a huge boost. And then I think Malcolm Rodriguez is still nursing an injury too, that he's going to take a sec. Then you have even more linebacker depth that you didn't have before.
Yeah, do you know when Rodriguez is going to be back?
I think the timetable was mid-season. I just can't remember the weeks specifically, but and then another thing, like within the schedule, Bengals not as much of a threat. They're still
With the
a
loss
very
of
tough
Burrow.
team,
Yeah.
but now without Burrow, they're slightly easier matchup, which now you can kind of mark that as a maybe win. But
I mean,
obviously, we'll
he
have
threw
to see
three
if Jake Browning
interceptions.
goes on another Linsanity run. So I guess,
No, I mean, he threw three interceptions in like two quarters.
yeah,
I don't think. I mean, again, he hasn't played football in a while, but I don't think. I think
yeah.
we can.
So that also boosts the Lions, win outlook a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which obviously horrible that he got hurt and that he's gonna be out for the season probably. Like I just watched a video with Kurt Benkert,
Burrow's out
and
for the
he's
season?
like, yeah, grade through. Well, he had a grade 3 turf toe, and that completely destroys like the ligament in the foot apparently, because apparently Benkert also had that, and they saved 3 months, but he doesn't think so, and I would tend to agree. Think like it's not in his planting foot, it's in his left foot, but I think if he's not out for the season, he's out for the majority of the season. but that'll
It's a shame.
definitely eclipse when the Lions have to play them.
Yeah. It's a shame. I love Burrow, but
Yeah.
it's another win.
Yeah.
All right, who's your first Red Wing prospect that you want to name that you love?
ASP, Axel Sandin Pelka. He is just such a dog. I mean, you watch him in World Juniors just put up multiple goals, multiple points. He just looks so good. He got his first point, I'm pretty sure, in the last like 2 games of the
Yeah,
AHL season. He
against
just
Stars.
looks really good, and he's that offensive defenseman that the Red Wings desperately need. Do I think he's gonna make the jump this season? Probably not. Um, I don't see it, but he's one that I'm just so incredibly excited for to see him actually play a full season in the AHL and get acclimated to the North American style of hockey.
Yeah, I mean, just on defense in general, he is a viable weapon on offense. He's got that top shelf lightning slap shot that you love to see. That he can just like sit on that blue line and like move in a little bit and just like crush it. But I mean, you saw him, against the Stars, who also have a very good, pipeline. And I mean, he like on all ends, just like shutting down lanes, shutting down passes. He's a dog. I think he needs a few more years, personally. I mean, if we see him this season, it might be just because of injury. So I'm not sure if I really want to see him up there because it
I
means
don't
something's
think we
probably
see
not
him
doing
even
well.
if we have injury because I feel like there's other prospects like Carter Mazer and a couple of other prospects that would be brought up before him.
Yeah. I love ASP overall. I think he's going to be a great addition to the squad in a few years, but he does
Yeah.
need some time to develop. It's clear in this game.
Yeah.
The next person I want to go to, Nate Danielson, who I actually think has a shot at being pulled up this
Yeah,
year.
that's that same here. I was gonna say Nate Danielson was probably gonna get a look, maybe not for an extended period of time, but maybe brought up for a couple games or something if, God forbid something happens to like Cop or Comfort where you bring him up and you see if he can be in that 2 or 3 center spot where that's his like ceiling is or what the Red Wings envision him. You pick him at I think he was number 9.
9. Yeah.
Yeah, 9. And you pick him there and obviously he's not going to be your number one center, A, because you have Larkin, and B, because even if you didn't have Larkin, you have Casper, but he wasn't going to be the number one center. He was going to be the 2 or 3. And I think if you can get him a decent look, maybe a handful of games, maybe like a road trip or a home stand, and he shows that he can command the third line or second line, I think you really have a good prospect there, and I think he's going to get a bit of a look at this season.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you were saying you got Larkin, you got Casper. I think Casper's making a huge move this season. I said it here first. But yeah, just his ability to like remain calm when like chaos is happening. Like again, I'm referencing the Stars game because it's the one that I watched. He's just cool. He's just like collected. Like every single
Yeah,
second
he's
he's
a
on the
very
ice.
stable centerman.
Yeah, absolutely. He doesn't make a lot of these like throwaways or like basically like just like giving the puck away that you see in a lot of young defensemen, especially like that level and that age. And he's just like overall like a chill and like calm, not to the sense where he's like bad, but like to the sense where he can remain stable, as you said, and like a key piece in a game, even when like the chips are down and it's looking a little bad. Send Danielson out there. He was his passing. I think he had a goal and 2 assists in a game, which was incredible. Yeah, I think if you bring him up in the next year or two, he's going to be that second or third. I think third with Casper, but we can have a great third line with him, and we will be incredibly deep at the center position, especially in the starting lineup.
Yeah,
So I
and I
love him.
think like I know we're moving on to who do you think is going to be brought up, but I think one that I want to talk about first that once I think really should be brought into the North American system with the AHL is Dmitry Buchenlikov.
Hmm.
He looks very absolutely electric as a winger. He was in the KHL was being like basically put up against Ivan Demidov. Demidov is insane on the Canadians. Um, being compared to him, and he's a bit, I think, a year or two older, but he still looks like an electric winger, second or third pairing winger, and that's someone I really do desperately want to see in the AHL and bring him over because I kind of want him here soon. He just looks so much fun to watch. I just want to see him in North America.
No, I agree. He's his role to me in a team would be like the Robin on the wing, just like the number two option that can speed past and open up a lane. I think he's gonna be great. I also would like to see him in the AHL. Obviously, we probably wouldn't see him in pro for probably like 3 to 4 years, maybe less than that. But I love the pick.
Yeah, and I guess circling back to who I think will probably be brought up, honestly, I think you look at maybe someone kind of splitting it between two here. I think you kind of take a look at Kosa for maybe a homestand. I think it'll be in a reliever role, kind of like he did for a game last year. I don't think you fully bring him up, but I think you test him a little bit, maybe. That's kind of a stretch, honestly. I know we talked about last year, like keep him where he is until like you think he's ready. But if he has to come in as a reliever, like emergency, then I think that's where you see him. But I think the person I would want to see is William Wallander. I think he was drafted second round, and I think he's another right shot defenseman that you want to look at bringing up, especially when Sherratt and Hall are about to come off the books after this year. And I think when you look at young prospects and want to test them, I think you look at him as someone who can try and fill that, second or third pairing defenseman pair with like Albert Johansson. And then maybe another I think that will get a look is Carter Mazur, because he got a look this season but then got injured like 5 minutes in, which sucked because I was actually at that game.
I remember that.
And wanted to go and wanted to see him play, and then he got hit, went out, and then we didn't see him anymore. And so I think he's a big name that will, out of anyone, I think get the most extended look and really be brought up as an option this season.
Yeah, I mean, with Kosa, going back to that, I do think it's a good idea to bring him in. As a reliever role would be great. Maybe as a larger role, like later in the season. Well, it depends on where we are in like February and March and standings or not. But I like the role of Gibson. I talked about this on the last episode, but like I like the role of Gibson to be like this vet guy that comes in. I mean he's solid in goal. He's good in goal, but also to like teach, the youngins, the youths, the ins and outs of the game. And I like that Kosa can kind of sit behind him. I think it's like as an organization and as a team in general, like we have probably the best or like top three. Sharks might have a better one, but young cores and like young prospects in the league, and I think we're like a year or two away from like the prospects taking over. Like Casper breakout, Kosa coming up. We obviously Mo and Raymond are there. Edmondson. We're so close as a team.
Yeah.
I think.
And that's why I think when we talked about last episode with Yzerman, like, you can't put him on the hot seat right now when, there's like half a dozen plus, like, aging veterans that are coming off the books literally after this season. That's when I think you're going to see the infusion of young talent. Obviously, they're going to try and re-sign a couple players, bring in some high-end talent, hopefully, or mid-tier talent that'll help us kind of win now. But I think next year's where you see, like, 2, 3, 4 prospects maybe come up, and so that's why I think you give him more leeway, because you look at the pipeline, you look at where players will probably come up in, and they're coming up close, they're like a year or two behind, and if they're a year or two behind, that's like the perfect window when all these contracts start to come off the books. You take away $5 million for Comfort. I think he's a couple more years, like we talked about last time, but Sherratt, Hall, you bring in a better mid-tier talent for that same money, and then you bring up another prospect to kind of take one of their places. So I think
cash flow.
Next season you see a real infusion of young talent from our prospect pool.
One last thing I want to touch on with Yzerman is that, like, just saw an article from The Athletic today, and again, The Athletic is, like, a little clickbaitish, just a tiny bit, but it's,
Yeah.
they were saying, like, oh, people are upset about Iserman. I think if you fire him, it's not going to solve anything.
Like, you're just going to get the same names that are up for these other jobs. And, you know, again, like in Tampa Bay, there's a reason they won like two Stanley Cups. Yes, he wasn't there for those, but who do you think drafted all those players, made those acquisitions that actually got them the Stanley Cups that they have won? Like,
Yeah.
it's not like they just appeared out of thin air. They got drafted because Iserman picked them up, said, "Hey, these guys look good. Obviously, you have a staff that also helps you." But he said, "All right, we're picking these players," and then boom, Vasilevsky, Point. You got all these players that won a Stanley Cup. Who do you think they came from?
Yeah, I completely agree. I'm just a little miffed about the status of him in other fans' minds, which they have a right to be upset with him in a sense, I guess, but firing him isn't going to change anything. I just want to drive that point
Yeah.
home.
Week 2, Tigers, they just came off a loss, looking at what they're able to do, what they hope to do, keep the division title and finally bring it back for the first time since 2014. I think we kind of covered everything, the prospects, who we think is going to probably come up next year, who we're excited about, and then a little more touching on what we talked about last week.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Orange and the Brit. Next week we got a lot of good stuff on the lineup. We got some Ravens-Lions action, some postseason race in baseball, and a lot of other things. So, see you soon.